Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ant Pod. This is now episode 7 and today we are talking about being a young ant YouTuber and a young ant keeper in general. Now, before we go directly into the podcast, I would like to say that I know the podcast have been lagging a little bit. It's been a bit hard to schedule, plus I have got some leaf cutters and, well, time has been a bit limited. So therefore, I think the podcast will, for now, just be every 2 weeks, and depending on how busy I am with life and everything. But to help us understand how everything works around being a young ant keeper and ant YouTuber, I've invited TheUrbanAntKeeper and Stan's Ant on the podcast. TheUrbanAntKeeper is a YouTuber with around 400 subscribers and have been making YouTube for around 2 years. Say hello, Oliver.
Hello.
Hello. So now 2 years is quite some time, but well, time is relative. So how old are you today?
At the moment, I am 14.
And yeah, that fits perfectly into the young YouTuber category. Now, together with Oliver, we also have Stan. Now, Stan is a YouTuber with around 50 subscribers and have been making YouTube for 4 months. Say hello, Stan.
Hello.
Now, at the time of writing the script, I actually didn't know how old you were, but if my calculations are correct, you should be around the same age. How old are you, Stan?
Yeah, I'm 14 as well.
Yeah, I would like to clap myself on the shoulder because yeah, I remembered that back when I wrote the script. Quite crazy. But yeah, you're both the same age, so that's why I asked you both to join this podcast, because well, you have the same kind of problems with making YouTube and priorities and school and life and everything. But we're gonna start with Oliver. You've had quite a break on YouTube, but you've recently started once again. Can you share why you took a break?
The reason I took a break was that, before the break I was making videos, every week, one after the other, and I just kept feeling that I was making things that shouldn't have been like full-length videos, like into videos. I felt like that there wasn't really enough to make videos while, still keeping their integrity and quality. So I stopped, because I felt that I wasn't doing the best job that I could.
Yeah, I mean, that is a really reasonable. That's the bad thing about trying to make a video every week. You just kind of, well, personally, I often have to just push myself and not really being 100% happy with the end result, but still happy enough to publish it. So,
and it's even harder with just 4 colonies. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. But we also have Stan, and well, Stan, you're also on a break, and actually you're on quite a long break. And why? How can that be?
Well, at the moment, I am in the middle of recording a video on my Camponotus nicobarensis. So I haven't had the time to edit the videos, upload them, and get all the clips in because of mostly school, and then obviously having to do homework from the school. And I've also got other hobbies which kind of get in the way of what I like when I'm trying to do my ant keeping. And when I am fully focused on my ants, I don't really have the sense of wanting to film. I kind of just want to watch the ants myself and kind of film it in my head and put it onto my computer without actually having to get out my phone and film them and edit them. It's like there's some moments I've seen which I wish I could show people because of how cool it was. But yeah, I'm in a break mostly because of school, and lack of motivation. Yeah, but apart from that, yeah, I'm gonna try and start uploading again.
So you're saying this with you have missed these moments you would like to record. What is your motivation for making YouTube and not just being an ant keeper?
Well, I make YouTube. I love the feedback, the comments. I think are one of the biggest reasons why I carry on making videos, and especially when it's a comment for someone who I look up to. For instance, you, Aunt Oliver. But yeah.
I mean, I get what you feel. I when people ask why I do it, it's hard. It is actually really hard because over the years I've actually lost kind of the reason why I do it. I just do it. I mean, I enjoy it, but I just do it.
And I also do it to show everyone, kind of like to show off pretty much the ants I have. And then if I can show my ants, then I can also watch other people show their ants off. And then, oh, that's cool. Like, I can get these ants and then I would show them and they'd be like, oh, that's cool. You know?
Yeah.
What about you, Oliver? What's your motivation to just keep going?
Well, my motivations have sort of changed across the 2 years that I've been making videos. Being completely honest, originally, I had an idea in my head that I was going to make videos for 2 or 3 months, and suddenly I would have millions of subscribers and lots of money and all the colonies I could ever want. And then, I'm also quite interested in cameras and film production, so I thought I'll be able to buy this huge camera and yeah. But as time went on, I realised that how much hard work you have to put in, and it pivoted away from that into what Stan was talking about. The comments and the likes, and just engaging with the community, because it's a really great feeling to put hours into a video every week, and then have the people in the comments saying, this was a great video, I enjoyed it, especially as Stan was saying, if it's people you look up to.
It is. I must agree. It is amazing just reading feedback especially when you have worked hard on a movie, on a video, and it just turns out the way you want, and you just get a lot of feedback. And that is amazing part of making videos for people to watch.
Yeah, the video I'm working on at the moment, it's quite hard to edit because I'm having to go through 40 minutes of just me ranting, pretty much, and I've had to persuade myself to do it, thinking of the end product, but yeah, it can get hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we'll go a bit more into this video a bit later, as it is just a little bit controversial of what I have been understanding. But Stan, do you have a long time goal with YouTube? Is it fun, or is there more behind it?
Well, I started it for fun, to document my ants, but if I it's very unlikely, but I'm still going to look and think on have a nice community to document my ants with, but nothing huge. I don't really want to be 4 million subscribers and walk past everyone and, oh, you're that guy, because if I was making money from it, I mean, that's perfect, because then I could put more money into getting better equipment, but apart from that, yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I agree. What about you, Oliver? What's your long time goal with YouTube?
My long term goal is to just continue making videos that I would personally want to watch, because when I started making videos, so I was thinking what gap is there to fill in in ant keeping YouTube, and personally I like comedy videos. I think a lot of people do, and I just wasn't seeing that much in the way of content creators making effort for having funny aspects in their videos. So I was like, great, I'll just do that.
Yeah, and I must say you are succeeding with it quite a lot.
Yeah, some videos more than others.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've always I just want to be myself when I'm recording. Just if I make any weird things, I'm just gonna keep it in because it's a bit more funny. But I remember I had the same talk with Ants Britannia once, that it's easy to get a video where you're just quite stiff and you want to be a little bit more relaxed and fun. And I'm glad that you can help bring that forward. Now, I must ask, personally, when I lived with my parents, I wasn't allowed to keep ants, and since you're both 14, I'm expecting you both to, live at home. Can you share some tips for new generations of ant keepers? What did you say to your parents to allow it, And is there any special things you did starting with Oliver?
I made a PowerPoint for a presentation
Okay.
for my parents. The biggest thing that I find parents are worried about is that they think that, you know, there'll be ants running rampant around the house. So you have to really stress to them like the talcum powder barrier thing, and like show them videos of it working. Beyond that, my parents weren't really too bothered as long as it was just like one room where they were and they couldn't get out of their setup. They were fine with it.
Yeah, you heard it here first. You gotta make a PowerPoint.
Yeah, you do.
It's commitment.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Stan? What's your secret to keeping ants at such young age?
Well, I was about, I think, 7 years old, and my dad, we've got a good relationship, and he's quite into like ants, insects, and millipedes and stuff like that. And then I remember asking him, because I'd watched Ants Canada, and at that time I was like, oh, he's cool. I wish I could have fire ants and like these big setups. And then I remember I got this Lasius niger setup, which I can say they're not alive today, but we had them in this little test tube, and I lost interest in them after like a month, but I got back into it after a while when I was about 10, I think, after seeing more videos with different ant YouTubers, and I just was like to my dad, I think my mum wasn't particularly okay with it. She was like, I mean, what if they escape and stuff like that, but my dad, he was like, oh yeah, sure, this, and then I always used to try and teach him the names, and he would be like, Camponotus wawa. But yeah, I think I've got quite lucky with my being able to keep ants. But yeah.
Yeah, you both really missed the part of the question, struggling to being allowed, and you both just pretty much got allowed. Anyway, if you have some tips for what would you suggest, well, other people that have difficulties, well, getting ants at home, except for just making a PowerPoint, what would you say to their parents?
Well, maybe you could like show them what Oliver said as like the talcum powder barrier, showing that it works even with these big colonies. You could show them, oh yeah, it's only like a small test tube. They'll be fine. There will be no escapees, and if like you see one, you can take them away. They're relatively cheap. I'll be doing something interesting, not on my computer game all day. So yeah.
Yeah, all good points. Anything more to add, Oliver?
Not really. I think Stan did a pretty good job of that.
Well, perfect. We have a few viewer questions, and if you do want to submit any of these viewer questions, it's over on the AntPod's Instagram, where I make a few stories here and there about, well, the upcoming interviews, and that is where you have the opportunity to ask some questions. So we have a question from Gecko Ants, who asked, what is your favorite species you've kept so far? Starting with Stan.
Well, if you asked me this question like 2 months ago, I would have gone with Mesa barbarus. But recently, like the bigger they get, well, especially as a founding colony, they're just stressed so easily, and it just aggravates me, because then like the queen starts running out into the outworld when you're just, it just was such a pain. But now I think my all-round favourite colony and species ever has got to be the Camponotus nicobarensis, and that is because
I was going to say that.
You're allowed to say the same thing, but yeah.
Well, it's them being an exotic species, which adds more excitement to the colony, and them growing so quickly. It's crazy. It's like the quickest growing species I know, and I would like every day now. There's still like I think 20 workers, but I would put in like a bit of meat I have. They would eat the whole thing, like. Oh, they would eat so quickly, and they devour so much food, and they grow so quickly. That is why I think they're my favourite.
It's always fantastic when you can hear the excitement in the voice of an antkeeper. That's always amazing. But Oliver, what well you spoiled it a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
But go on, tell the full story about it.
Well, actually, you might not know this. It's a Camponotus nicobarensis.
Oh.
Yeah, I just think that they're pretty much the perfect ant species. The combination of how they look, how quickly they grow, the fact that they'll pretty much eat everything. I've put ham in there, I've put chicken in there, mealworms, fruit flies, loads of different stuff, and they'll just always eat it. I think if I got more species, I'd probably, reevaluate my answer, but Camponotus nicobarensis compared to Lasius niger, Flavus, and Merbicorubra, and Mesobarbarus, it's taking all the good aspects out of them and putting it into one species of ant.
Would you then recommend starting with Camponotus nicobarensis, or do you think you should still start with the basics, Flavus or Nigers?
If I'm honest, I think Camponotus nicobarensis is a great starter species, because often beginner ant keepers can lose interest very quickly when they when they catch their Lasius niger or Flavus queen, and then they have to wait almost a year after that, factoring in hibernation and everything, to actually get a colony above 30 or 40 workers. Whereas Camponotus nicobarensis, sure, you may have to get a heating mat or and maybe factor in a bit more cost in terms of going through nests, but you'll have a colony close to 500 workers within a year, and I think that's much more interesting to watch develop.
Also, one thing I'm going to add to that is they're like the opposite of stressy. They're like quite a hardy species, if like that's a word, because I remember if I were to accidentally move the test tube, the queen would like maybe move a bit and the workers might move a bit, but they won't go out like crazy. They won't be like running out their test tube, and they're the perfect size, I think. They're not so big that like Camponotus herculinus or something like that, but they're like the perfect size. They're not too small. They're like a bit bigger than like medium, and they're just amazing.
Yeah, I think that there is like a lot of value in. There's a lot of value in having a slower growing species that you need to hibernate and like spend like a lot of time and have a lot more patience to raise. But I just don't think that's a very good starting option. I think far too many people either start with a really slow growing species, or people who watch Ants Canada starting with a really fast growing species like, I don't know, fire ants or something. I think people should sort of start in the middle, and then as they get more colonies, sort of go a little bit slower and a little bit faster.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I made a video script once for why you shouldn't start by keeping Camponotus, just because they are just so slow in this beginning, until I realized, well, Camponotus are not slow, just European Camponotuses are really slow. And therefore that video never saw the light. But yeah, I would just add on what Stan said with them being quite, well, they can take quite a lot. I moved them out of they currently live in a aesthetic ants mini outworld where they have 2 test tubes. Both of the test tubes are running dry in water and they need to move into a nest, so I disconnected the 2 test tubes, opened the lid on the mini outworld, and they didn't do anything. I gave them the light, they didn't do anything, and I don't know, now they're just in a dry test tube in the light without moving. So
Have you put a heat cable under the other nest?
no, not currently, but that's mainly because it's 25 degrees in here, because I have to heat my room for my leaf cutters. Else I can't see what's going on inside.
That works every time for me if I want to move them. They won't move for light. Well, they would, but their heat, they would move like if I were to move their cable, you could see they move to the outside of the nest, or if I'm trying to move them out, they'll move. Yeah.
My Nicobarensis moved from their Orsant's founding nest to a antkit nest within about 2 hours when I had the heat mat on. But I was really surprised to come in because I set up my camera to film the Orsant's nest, and then I uncovered it and I was like, whoa, where are all the ants? So I had to go in and reset up my camera because I just didn't expect them to move in that fast.
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving the setup into a non-heated room just so I can heat the new nest and make them move. And I'm getting closer and closer to actually doing this. But we clearly, well, all three of us keep Nicobarensis, which is quite amazing. It's a great species. Now, going on towards the next question. Well, Stan, you are a fairly new ant keeper, and Oliver, you've kept ants for around 2 years. But how many species do you keep, starting with Stan?
Well, I've recently either given my species, because I kept quite a lot of species which I didn't publish on my YouTube or social media, just because I kind of wanted them to be mine, and like it's just one of my own personal colonies, and I got rid of a few of them. So I had this Myrmica ruginodis colony in this nice terrarium, but I moved them, and I don't have them anymore. But at the moment, I've got my Camponotus nicobarensis, I've got Lasius niger, Lasius flavus, and Camponotus nicobarensis, and a really small acorn ant, which is Temathorax something.
Yeah, Temnothorax.
Yeah,
something.
That's it. Yeah. In this little jar with a acorn, and then I have to soak them with water quite a lot in the cotton, and it's quite stressful. But yeah.
Didn't they escape?
They did, but they moved to the corner of my shelf, which was being hold, because I realised I put them in too big of a nest, because they obviously live in small acorns in the wild, and I had them in this pretty, not big nest, but for them it was huge, and they all moved into this small corner of my shelf, and all I had to do was kind of scoop them up and put them in this little jar thing.
Yeah, so again, for all of those listening who may use this video or podcast as a reference on how to start keeping ants, yeah, don't get small species at least.
If I could get rid of one of my species right now, it'd be them, because I put them in this the ant lady nest. They had these little ventilation holes at the top. I put all glue on it. I put everything. I put not glue, blue tack. I put blue tack on the top. I had done everything, and still they managed to escape. And I've still, to this day, at the moment I've got my Camponotus nicobarensis in them, but to this day I still don't know how they escaped, and it's kind of worrying me, because I don't think my Camponotus nicobarensis are way too big for them to escape, but they're still. It was just quite a strange thought to me, because they could escape, even though I'd covered up all the possible holes that they could escape from.
Yeah, I don't really like small ants. I got my I had a Phaedole polygula colony about a year ago, and I remember opening them up and looking at the workers and thinking, is that it? I was actually a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I when I got my Phaedole PLE, also just tiny ants, I was just, it was okay, but you just don't get the same relationship because you just can't see what's going on.
Mm.
So when I got offered yellow crazy ants and just black yellow crazy ant, what? Not yellow, black crazy ants. So when I got offered them and started doing a little bit of research and heard they were like 2 millimeters, I just threw it to the side and said, nah, a bit too small for my taste. You just really don't get the same relationship with them. At least I don't.
And they could escape.
And they can escape, yeah. But what about you, Oliver? You keep a few species. What and how many?
So I keep 4 species at the moment. though I have 5 colonies. Those 4 species are Camponotus nicobarensis, Mesa Lasius niger, Lasius flavus, and Myrmica rubra. That's 5. No, that's not 4. 5. This little colonies, and I'm still forgetting.
Yeah, it's always the test tube colonies. You just forget them. At least I do. But yeah, Oliver, you've been making YouTube for around 2 years. Did you when you got into ant keeping, did you then start straight away with recording your first video, or how long did it go before you started making videos of your ants?
I think it was around 3 or 4 months of ant keeping before I thought of making YouTube videos, and I did initially want to, because I had a Myrmica rubra colony to start off with, which are now dead, and I wasn't keeping them very well, and in a sense, I was ashamed of what everyone else would think when I was making videos of these Myrmica rubra, so I didn't start. And then I got a Lasius niger colony, and that's when I started.
Yeah, I must say, looking back at my old Mesobarbarus video on all the things I did wrong, it is really cringy. But I mean, you learn from your mistakes. But holy moly, I tried all the mistakes I could find out there.
I had that too. With there's like silly things like, I don't know, maybe not watering them and then like bang, they're dead. Like, it's just, I remember like looking back, it's just so embarrassing, but it's something that you can learn, and then other ant keepers don't have to go through it.
Yeah, it's so cringy because I recently watched it, and the setup was starting to mold, so I said to myself, I'm not gonna water the setup. And then in the next video, okay, so I can see that my ants are really thirsty, they keep drinking water, so I decided to water the setup once more, and now it's really, really, really moldy. It's just it's those small things. If you say don't water the setup due to the mold, then don't water the setup due to the mold.
Yeah, you need to get yourself a cleanup crew. You know, the
Yeah.
mysopods and springtails.
Yeah, the main problem was just I used a cork nest for a mesa, and mesa need quite high humidity, and cork nests are quite dry.
Especially if it's, I mean, I wouldn't use isopods or like springtails, for example, in a nest which like isn't from a terrarium, because I personally, I don't think that's like right, because they don't have anywhere to, you know, like make a little house.
Yeah, so you would rather have a natural setup? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but they're a pain sometimes, like watering and stuff like that. Mold.
Do you have any natural setup stand?
Yes, I do, but it's not in use of anything. I recently made one. Like kind of not really any theme. I just kind of like a foresty type theme. I've got a bit of moss. I've got leaves. I'm having a look actually. There it's. I made it, and I haven't put anyone or any ants in it yet, because I kind of give it a couple weeks for it to kind of make its own, kind of get used to itself before I introduce ants.
Yeah, it gotta have that mold period or something. I'm not an expert on that part, but this is getting me a question. Oliver, you of course have your. Well, I think you actually also moved your flowers into a natural setup, at least to have your rubra. How many natural setups do you have now? And do you like a natural setup more than normal setup?
I have 4 natural setups now. I have the one for my Myrmica rubra, 2 for my Lasius flavus colonies, which are hibernating now, and one half natural setup for my Lasius niger. The Lasius niger were in a tubs and tubes setup, and I just decided to throw some mosses in, and they'll like some springtails and isopods like on the mosses, so it's got its own like little ecosystem going on now. As to whether like I prefer one or the other, I think it's really hard because I'm a big fan of plants. I have you know, if you watch my videos, you'll see, you know, I have a plant right next to me on my desk.
In your face? Yeah.
Yeah,
In
my
your
face.
Such a cool room. You've got plants everywhere. It's cool. It's really cool. I wish I could have.
Yeah. There's a surprising amount of plants outside that you can just like take cuttings of and start growing. So, yeah, I think there's a big benefit of having, you know, a non-natural setup of being able to like see inside. I think a project in like the next year of ant keeping will be trying to do some sort of like combination nest, where it would be like say an acrylic nest or like one of the aesthetic ants 3D printed nests, but I'll, you know, put soil in and mosses and you know see how that works.
Yeah, it would be interesting to buy a large nest and fill it up with dirt and stuff like that, and then move a small colony into it and see how they would react.
Yeah, I kind of fear with that though that they wouldn't tunnel like close to the light and it would just look like it's full of dirt.
That's true. And that is why I don't have natural setups. I always fail. Stan, you have something on your mind?
Yeah, sorry. I think Ant Scandinavia did something like that with he stuck a piece of wood or something for, I think it was Polyrhacus species or something, and you could see you've got the natural nest and you've also got you can see inside. It's quite cool. Not sure.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. Was it like a coconut? Was it a coconut or something? He had them in. I remember it was like hollow and it was up against the glass.
It was really cool. I like the idea of it.
I must say, I can't exactly remember this video you're referring to, but Stan, we never got around to asking you, did you straight away start to document your ants when you got them? And of course it's a bit hard because you've kept ants over multiple times, but the last time you got your ants, did you straight away get into recording, or did it take a little bit of time before you started making YouTube?
Well, I mean, if I can remember, I started ant keeping like properly, like actually thinking about it, like 10, 11, and then I had a huge break, and then until I was about 13, I think. So about a year ago, I started fully ant keeping again, and this time I had more motivation to like get cooler species and have nice species this time, and like, because I've learned from all my mistakes from last year, so I was like, okay, this time it's gonna go well, and it didn't go great at the start because I did rookie mistakes, but I got it, like I got everything, and it was going well, and then I was like, I've seen lots of new YouTubers, so I think Antscapes was just starting up at this time, or I'd just seen him on my recommended, and I was like, oh yeah. So I think he was one of the people who were to inspire me to start making videos, and so were you, Ant Oliver. Actually, I watched the first video I watched with you was the releasing the Myrmecorubra in the setup with that crashed plane little
a long time ago.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I can start making videos. And then I didn't, but then I was introduced to new species, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna start making videos, and then I did, and then here I am today.
Yeah, not making videos.
Yeah, not making videos, but I'm going to. I'll get there. I'm just, especially I'm on my half-term break right now, so I will have more time because I'll be inside all day. I'll go out with my friends someday, but I will be able to. And I'm making a promise to everyone listening. 2 weeks time, there will be a video out.
And that means 1 week, because it's 1 week ahead of the podcast release.
Yes,
so,
1 week.
Yeah.
1 week.
Yeah, and 1 week. Good. And
I'll
I should
hold you
also
up on
add that.
I'll keep on messaging you. Have you finished?
Good thing. All who's listening to this podcast, let's just get the correct date. Stan's Ant will be publishing a video on the 4th of November. So if he hasn't, we'll also all go and spam him.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll set an alarm.
But this question, did you straight away start to make your videos, is a question that is built on David Sukik's question. So thank you for asking that. But let's a little bit go back to you being young and you being YouTubers. What would you say is the biggest struggle with being an ant YouTuber? We've of course talked a little bit about priorities, but is it just time, or is there, well, anything more than that? Starting with Stan.
Well, especially as a young ant keeper, I mean, I don't have a job yet, so that's also like an advantage. But like, there'll be a time in a couple of years' time when I am getting my first job, which will be even less time to make videos. But the biggest struggle has got to be school and work. Not work, but school and homework. But I think that's kind of a general struggle for most hobbies. School, homework, sleep. There's not much, obviously the weekends, but then I've got, that's kind of my break time. That's like my break from working, and that's kind of, that's 2 days I should relax, but then, I've got to make a video, so obviously it's not ideal, but I think I would rather be a young ant keeper without a job than for someone like you, Ant Oliver. I know you're an electrician, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apprentice electrician.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be quite stressful.
Yeah, you've got do you have much time making, I'm asking you questions now, but do you have much time?
It's okay, this is a bit more relaxed podcast. I think I edit around 1 to 2 hours every day once I get home from work, and then I have around 1 to 2 hours before heading back to bed. So, well, with eating breakfast and everything. The good thing is, once I'm in the mood of editing, the time flies and it's fun.
Yeah,
but
you
getting
get into,
home
like,
and
the
being
flow.
yeah, that's the good part. But getting home, being tired, and thinking about now it's time to go in and start recording and whatnot, it can be hard sometimes.
Sometimes you just want to, sit down and sleep and not actually make a video.
But I just want to get it out. I started to work when I was 15, so you only have around a year before. That's not an excuse anymore. Also, looking at both of you. But Oliver, what would you say is your biggest struggle as a young ant YouTuber?
Yeah, I think it's 100% time. Balancing, being able to do, school and homework, and knowing that, personally I'm going into GCSEs this year, which is like a fairly big exam in Britain. So balancing, being committed to school, like getting good grades, doing ant keeping stuff, and also being able to be there, for friends, because I think too often I come home and either and I do like an hour of YouTube and then an hour, and then however much homework I have, and then the rest of my time just goes to YouTube. Or when it's important to spend time with family and friends and stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely. It takes a long time making videos. But I think we should go on to the next question, which is a little bit on that long time, because you have quite a video planned, Oliver. And we have Avalon Ants who asks, can you reveal some upcoming videos? And this is a little bit pre-recorded, so by the time this video may already have published. But Oliver, what is your upcoming video?
Yeah, so my upcoming video that's been released like a week ago when you're watching this is a video.
Hopefully. Now we can hear. Now we can. So what date is this releasing? You're saying I'm guessing this is the 24th.
This is releasing, the 24th, this Sunday.
So you better already go in and watch it after this, because it's very clearly available.
Yeah, I keep feeling like like it's too long, and people, it's it like scares me, the thought of like putting so much work into something and then people not really listening just because it's long and there's like a lot that I have to say.
But can you share a little bit about what it's about?
Yeah, so that there's I think a lot of ant keepers now know about the We Don't Approve movement started by aesthetic ants, and that's what sort of drew my attention to lights camera ants. And this is a bit of a controversial take, but I feel like people in ant keeping are too mean to the wrong people. Like like a lot of experienced ant keepers will sort of not really take new ant keepers questions that seriously, and then whenever lights camera ants or Ants Canada does like a live feeding or kills one of their colonies for views, they will disapprove of it, but they'll just like message each other and be like, oh, that's a horrible thing to do, and won't actually come out and say something about it. Yeah, so I feel like this video is like the embodiment of like the the community's feelings towards lights camera ants and Ants Canada that they don't want to say.
Yeah, I must say I fall onto that exact thing we don't want, because I do often think, well, this is not too good. But then again, if I ever were to interview, well, Mikey, I can't just have a video saying I hate you. So that's the struggles. I really want to go out and be honest, but if you don't want to close all your opportunities, you also have to be a bit quiet. But that's why it's good we have you and EA. You can go out and push a little bit on the boundaries.
Yeah, like there's very little chance anyway that I'll ever get to meet with Ants Canada or talk to him. So why should I worry about how I come off to him? Because what I'm saying, as far as I think, it's the truth. Like,
yeah, it's not like you're talking behind his back. You're just saying what people don't want to say.
Yeah, it's not like gossip about Ants Canada. It's taking stuff that Lights Camera Ants and Ants Canada have done, and holding them accountable for it when other people won't really do that.
Yeah, I must say I'm really looking forward to seeing this video. Looking forward to hearing you and your thoughts. So Sedan, do you have any upcoming videos you can reveal? You've talked a little bit about the Nicobarensis, maybe Formicarium video about the natural Formicarium. Is there any upcoming videos you want to reveal?
Well, I mean, I was going to make a video on me making that natural setup because I like showing off on what I can do, like to make it like different layers of this, like the dirt. But really, I'm not. As a person, like in general as well, I'm not like I kind of just like I don't really know how to word it, but I kind of just go with the flow on what's going on around me, and I like, for an example, for YouTube, I need to start writing down video ideas when I get them off the top of my head, because I'll have a great video idea. Okay, I can do this, and then I'll just forget it the next morning.
Yeah, I learned it a while ago that you just have to note it down as soon as you get it, because you can't remember.
So yeah, Camponotus nicobarensis, that video, next week next week by this podcast. But
yeah, on the 4th of October. Oh no, November.
The most annoying part is I'm starting to get back into recording again after my little small break. It's hibernation, and that is quite I mean, it is a dry period for ant content. Well, there's EA could release some new nests. Like, that's perfect time for making new nests, I think. And the prices of ants they shoot up during hibernation because there's no new ant keepers. There's no supply of ants coming in except for exotic ants. But yeah, I've kind of not really planned that well.
It's been kind of stressful going from, looking at my YouTube studio statistics and saying like, oh, being on track for, 500 subs by the end of the year, to like not being on track at all, because there just isn't as much interest as there used to be. So I'm shifting more to like other styles of videos, like criticizing people.
You gotta do what you gotta do, but
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
alone. All YouTube and keeping YouTuber statistics are just that. I was when I started this year, I set a goal for 2,000 subscribers. I had 400, and I thought it was completely impossible. And then during the summer, it just bloomed, and I got around 150 a month, and I was just like, okay, oh wait, I got around 300 almost a month, and I was just like, okay, it's happening for more than I would hit, or more than 2,000. And now it's looking like it's just barely possible, but hopefully my leaf cutter will boost it a little bit. But yeah, statistics are down doing hibernation.
Yeah. And to like combat that, that's a teeny bit of the reason why I'm making the Ants Canada LCA video, and because I'm like concerned about people, not watching through it because it's long. I've made, I think, quite possibly my best thumbnail and title ever, and I think this is the best shot I've probably had so far in my ant keeping YouTube channel, of getting a video that like not goes viral but is like picked up by the algorithm. And yeah,
I just want to say this: Ants Canada and Light Camera Ants, they do risky stuff for views, and now you are doing a video where you're exposing them for doing views because your views are down, so you want to get some more views, taking a risky stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there for everybody listening. Just we know what you're doing. But going on towards the final question of the podcast, it's already been 50 minutes, so time flies. But personally, I don't know a single ant keeper within my, within the friends I have. And I've never done that, and I've never really talked with my hobby too much. I share it, but as an apprentice electrician with old people, they don't really have ants. But you are young. Do any of your friends have ants? Is it like something you talk about, or do you like keep it for yourself? Starting with Stan.
Well, I mean, I only really recently told my friends about like my ants. I think about a year ago, because it's not really like, I wouldn't say it's considered cool. Like, I wouldn't go up to people, oh yeah, guess what? I keep ants. But ants, like. I think you were talking about this on one of the podcasts. I think Sid was. He was like, I really want ants to be one of those kind of cool species to keep. Cause
yeah, like how the reputation of like tarantulas or like having a snake is.
Yeah, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I have ants. They wouldn't be like, whoa, you have ants. They're kind of like, ants? Why ants? It's just.
Yeah, hopefully it gets a little bit more mainstream. But the answers, then you don't have any of your friends that also keeps ants?
I mean, this nocturnal flight, two of my friends, two of them got Lacey's Niger Queens, and one of them's died, but the other one's actually doing quite well, and I'm quite proud of him. So, yeah, it's like being a father, because they always message me like, my queen isn't moving. And I'm like, I'm not sure. It might be dead. And then,
yeah, well, you gotta start somewhere. What about you, Oliver? Do you have any friends that are keeping ants?
Yeah, well, I used to have two, because at the time when I was, going into ant keeping, it was like the first like few months of year 7, which is the first year of high school in England, and I go to a grammar school, which means like everyone else is really nerdy. So I was lucky enough to brainwash two of my friends into getting ants. One of them got I think Myrmecarubra, Lasius niger, I think some Tetramorium and Mesobarbarus, but then their parents threw them all away because they were scared of them.
Aww.
Yeah, including the Mesobarbarus in winter. And yeah.
That's
and then,
sad.
it was sad. And then the other one, that their first species was Diacama, Asian bullet ants. Yeah.
Okay, starting off easy.
Yeah, and I think they still have them now, and they're like up to nearly 1,000 workers, and they feed them like Madagascar hissing cockroaches. I don't know how they convinced their parents into getting them.
Why start slow when you can just start straight away?
Yeah, it's like getting someone who's like never run before and forcing them to do a marathon.
But is it then something you talk openly about, or is it something you still keep a little bit on the silent side?
Pretty much everyone in my class and quite a few people in my year know that I am an ant keeper, more because of like my YouTube channel than anything else. But I will talk openly about it with some people, not with others, because like I feel like it alienates people that you haven't really spoken to much before to come over and say, ooh, and say all these like Latin species names that they have no idea what they mean, and yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I was. It's a little bit hard just jumping out saying, yeah, by the way, I keep ants. It's just But I must say, it has been amazing having both of you on the show. And starting this podcast, we flew past the first few questions, and I was scared it was too short, but we have hit the around 1 hour mark, so it's been just as I wanted. But thank you both for being here on the show. Do you have any final words, Stan?
I mean, subscribe to the Urban Ant Keeper and me, yeah, and also subscribe to Ant Oliver.
Thank you.
But me and the Urban Ant Keeper would be preferred. Yeah, do your outro.
I'm gonna cut this out. Okay. What about you, Urban? Oliver?
I want to say, okay. My parents just closed my door. I think I was talking too loud. I want to say thank you for having me on. Help out everyone's statistics and subscribe to them. Yeah, I think it was great being on the podcast.
And one last thing, it's quite cool having an actual conversation to someone who knows like about ants, and like you can because at school I would be like my friends. He makes fun of them, but like these all like not makes fun, but we have like jokes. He's like, "Have you caught Lasius niger?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got a couple of those." But now I'm openly speaking to you, and it's quite nice, and especially being on a podcast with like a couple. When you started the podcast, I was like, "This is amazing to listen to," like on the way to school. And I was like, being on this podcast, it's like such a like, it's so, I can't thank you like enough, because it's quite like, it feels so strange, it's surreal. That's it.
I must say, I liked your second final words more than your first final words. But yeah, it is. I am really happy. I'm really glad doing this podcast. It just takes out a lot of time, and therefore I think we'll slow a little bit down. But it's been really amazing having both of you on the show. A little bit more relaxed than, because I could actually say some things compared to the last few podcasts. Well, it's been a bit more interview style. But yeah, I'm imagining you both know the outro format.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So for all of those who are not familiar, the outro format is the Ant Holfer style bye. And it's the way to push our guest a little bit towards the awkward side by making them say bye in a uncomfortably high pitch, if possible. So yeah, I think we're gonna start with the Urban Ant Keeper, aka Oliver, and end with and then stand and then end with me and Oliver. So yeah, are you two ready?
Yes.
Okay, Oliver,
Bye.
Stan,
Bye.
and Oliver, bye. You two went all in on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted it to be a big finale.
Yeah,
Amazing,
absolutely.
amazing.
Well, that's incredible.